In this video, I'm going to talk about what you need to know before you leave the hospital with a ventilator patient. Specifically, I will speak to the acutely intubated patient being transported to a higher level of care. When the ambulance service receives a request for a high priority ventilator transport, we are often pressured by the hospital staff to rush the patient out the door. It's unfair, but a natural reaction to a patient who is very sick and fixing to die in the emergency room. This patient is a hot potato. If you hold the potato for too long, it's going to burn your hands. The game is to quickly pass it to someone else and not be the one holding it when the music stops. Caving into the pressure of passing a hot potato is a mistake. Instead, let's put on our oven mitts and approach the transfer of care in a confident, orderly manner. The hospital is our customer. When they call us, they have an expectation that we are going to be capable of handling this responsibility. Truly, what they want is a superhero to fly in, gather the patient in their strong arms, and then quickly fly them to safety. That's why I made this series of videos, to give you the confidence of a superhero. Here's what you do. When you arrive at the bedside, confirm that respiratory therapy is notified or present. Write down the vent settings they give you and program them into your vent. See the other videos in this folder for a walkthrough of this process. Have RT review your settings. It's not their job to set the vent up for you, but there's nothing wrong with having them confirm your selections. Take report from the sending physician. Get a complete story. Establish the timeline of events. He or she has already spoken to their counterpart at the receiving hospital in order to authorize the transport. However, the receiving physician may not be there when you arrive, so you need to assume whomever you hand the patient off to has no foreknowledge. When you are with the sending physician, ask them for their mobile number so you can contact them directly if you have any questions once you leave. Save this number in your phone. Find the receiving physician's phone number as well and save it. You may need it later. If you can't reach either, then medical control is your safety net. If the patient is receiving any IV infusion medications, write them down and note both the concentration and the dose being delivered. If you are not familiar with the medications hanging, be certain to ask what they're for and if there are any limits you need to keep an eye on. Ask hypothetical questions, like if the blood pressure begins to drop, at what point would they prefer you call them, or adjust the infusion rate? Ask for instructions should the sedation get interrupted or wear off in the back of the ambulance. Don't let them brush you off. Failing to plan is planning to fail. The physician could give you a written order or simply instruct you to follow your EMS protocol. A written order would be for a bolus from the sedation medication bag, or they could even give you something from their pharmacy stock. Otherwise, we have midazolam, fentanyl, or ketamine in our drug box. If they instruct you to use your own medications, then when you reach the ambulance, you should open your drug box and draw up the dose so you have it ready. I would go so far as to attach the syringe to the IV port and tape it to the line so you are ready in case the patient so much as scratches their nose. Not having medication ready can lead to a disaster if there's a problem during transport. There's no way you're going to be able to call the hospital, get an order, open your drug box, find the syringe and needle, find the medication, draw up the dose, and push it IV before the patient is grabbing at their endotracheal tube. There's nothing wrong with wasting medication afterwards if you don't use it. You should document this in your narrative so there won't be any reason to question your actions. I would rather exchange an open drug box than have a patient wake up out of sedation in the back of my ambulance any day of the week. This brings up a concern. Are you allowed to transport medications that you haven't been trained to use? We operate under OCMCA Protocol 8-15, Interfacility Patient Transfers. You need to review this protocol. In order to start the transfer, the sending and receiving physicians must make an agreement in writing that the transfer is in the best interest of the patient. This is a tacit admission that if the patient were to remain at the current hospital, they would further degrade and likely perish. The risk of staying at the current hospital outweighs the risk of ambulance transport to a more able facility. The physicians agree to this, knowing the medications and equipment that must be utilized for the transport. They are responsible for confirming that you, the provider, are trained, equipped, and willing to do the transport. Whatever they hand you is what you are authorized to take under the protocol. That's your ace in the hole. If you don't feel prepared to do the transport, the physician must provide education, or you simply don't move the patient. If the equipment involved is beyond your abilities, they may elect to send hospital staff with you. If any family is at the bedside, introduce yourself and let them know what you're doing. This is an overwhelming situation for them. We get so caught up in our own anxieties that we sometimes forget this is a very human moment for the family. This might be the last time they see that patient alive. Put on your game face. Even if you don't feel confident on the inside, you have to swagger a bit so you don't give the family any more stress than they're already experiencing. If family is present, you can also ask for an authorization signature at the bedside. In some cases, the family might tell you that they're going to follow you to the receiving hospital. Do your best to discourage this if you're transporting emergently. The last thing you need is to have them driving through red lights or even rear-ending you because they're distracted. Letting a family member ride in the ambulance is a judgment call you have to make on a case-by-case basis. You have the right to refuse them, but it will cause some drama. Collect a full set of vitals on the patient before you leave the ER. Always confirm tube placement using capnography. Review the patient transfer paperwork. Move the patient to your cot and package them for transport, but don't switch them over to your vent until you are positive you have everything you need and you're ready to leave. As soon as they're on your vent, they're burning your battery and your oxygen supply. Being confident and not allowing yourself to be rushed is going to result in a better outcome than if you're pushed out the door half-cocked. Hope is not a plan, and speed kills. Wear the oven mitts and don't fear the hot potato. Be sure to check out my documentation video, and thanks for watching.